So now that we have all the pockets laying flat, the next thing we want to do is our side panel for the lining. You can see, so you attach it to the main fabric. Don't forget we still have half of an inch to sew it right here. So we are going to be sewing it half of an inch, join this point half of an inch, and then we do the same thing for the other side. So let's quickly join that and come back. Welcome back. Right now we've sewn these pieces together, so you're going to press it open. After pressing it open, then you flip it like this. So if you notice, you'll see this lining piece is about is a little bit, how do I call it, a bit bigger than the main fabric, and I intentionally did that so that we can trim the excess later. It's better if it is bigger than when it is smaller. So what we do is just flip it over to the right side. You can see this, and then you can see this point that is coming up right here. So you want your lining piece to also come up like that, and then you take your lining piece and then make it have that same effect. You see what I did? So after that, you can then decide to cut the excess along the edge right here. So I'm going to be cutting my own excess, all these points. You can see. But mind you, be sure you have it fit properly before cutting the excess. If it's not properly aligned, you may have problems, a little problem actually. So you don't want that. So for now, you can leave the lower part or just cut about 1 inch away from it. Yes, let's just cut and leave it like this. It's still cool if we leave it that way. In this point as well, let's do some trimming on the lining part here as well. Okay, so now that we've done this, normally we should baste it down in place. All these points, I should baste all these points with my thread. Let me do that so that life will be easier for us. Okay, so right now you can start from this point and then we'll paste all the stuffs in place. Before you proceed, let us fold this. So let's fold this roll line first, and then you can then continue. Don't mind me. Make sure not to pull the thread too tight. It is not really a good idea to pull the thread tight. It is not a good idea at all. So right now we've given it the first row of basting stitch. You can see this, and this is what we have right from here. So right here, one thing you may want to do that is actually also very essential is, you see this line, we have a stitch underneath it. Let's start from here. You see this stitch line? You want to sew that also down in place. Maybe not all across all these pockets, but at some points where it is necessary, where it won't affect the pocket. So you want to make sure you pin that, you baste that down in place. So you go right to the upper part as well, all these areas, you do that, and after doing that you can place it. So the essence of doing that is so that when you eventually remove this, you still have your this thing as a whole. It won't be it will still lay flat. In fact, even after so many years of wearing it, you still have a very flat and nice suit. That is one essence of doing that. But you know, one thing that is going to disturb is once you do that, it is also very nice to do it right here too. You can see this point. It's cool to have it at this point as well. But once you do that, you know, you are going to be stitching your lapel and all this lower part by hand. And don't worry, it's actually fun. Though it takes a little bit of time, it takes time, but it is fun. And you get a very nice result. So you can see what we have right here. So one thing you are going to do is you fold this area. Actually, we are still coming there. We are not there yet, so we are coming there fully. So once you fold this area, you see what I did right here, and then you baste it down in place. But wait, before we go on ahead and baste it, we want to do something. You want to hold this point also in down. You want to hold it down so that you won't have it falling off like this after wearing it. So you want to do that as well. And then you can just pick a little bit of your interfacing right here, and then do one of the stitches here, like the hemming stitch. So you can have this as much as you want. So if you can pick some of the threads here and it won't be showing from the outside, it is also a good idea to do that. But make sure you're not having your thread show from the outside, you know, when you're doing your hemming. So it's good to have this. All of this contributes to a very nice looking suit. Yes, you want to do all of this. Actually, this is where those little works now. Yeah, they gather there. So you want to baste this point also in place. Okay. So once we have this done, we know we've held this in place. You can see it's not showing at all from this side. The next thing we now do is do this and then flip this. After flipping this inside, let's leave that for now. Let's leave that. Let's work on attaching let us attach the back panel. Yes, because we are going to be having a side vent, we are going to be attaching the back panel separately. Yeah, it's going to be on a separate listing. So you want to now sew on your, what do we call it? Your back panel. So here's one piece of the back panel, the one that fits this particular, what do we call it? So you can see I've also folded this area while I am pressing. So this area has been folded, and that is one thing you want to do. And after that, you now want to sew. But then when you want to sew, don't forget that you have 1 inch of allowance right at the side panel here. Don't forget the allowance I added here is 1 inch. So if you have it here as half of an inch, you can just go on ahead and sew your half of an inch. But I have 1 inch, and right here I have only half of an inch. So here's what I'm going to be doing. You see what I did? And I'm going to remove my half of an inch right here. And after removing my half of an inch, I can now sew this one also by half of an inch. So that way I'll have 1 inch here at the side panel and then half of an inch sewn at this back panel. So let's get to the machine and sew this. You can see that. Let's sew it. When we sew it, we get to this point. you sew it like this, and when you get to about a half of an inch before you get to the exact before you get to the end here, you can stop. Yeah, you stop. But wait. Yeah, let's treat the events separately. Before we go on ahead to do that, there's something we have to do right here, and we need to do it at the, okay, here is it. I have my folding line already. It has been folded, so you can see that now that I've folded this point already. So if you fold your own also like that, you want to take this folding point and also this folding point, you fold this point as well. I hope someone is seeing what I'm doing. Is it clear enough for us? You fold this point. If you see, and I've folded this point as well. So this is where I'm going. And once I'm doing this, I want to make sure these points are matching. Yeah, these 2 points are matching. One, and I want to make sure, right, you can see in between here, where this thing meets, I want to make sure there's no space between them. You can see what I'm doing. I want to be sure there's no space between them. So what you do is, after you are sure there's no space between them, you now place this over and take it to the iron and press this. So once you press, it's going to give you a line. You're going to have a line. You can see my own line. Yes, you're going to have a line around here. And when I did that, this is my own line. So now that I have this line already, you see, now that I have the line, I'm just going to cut half of an inch away from the line. So mind you, I'm not cutting directly on the line. I'm cutting at a position half of an inch away. So that is where I'm cutting from, as you can see. So you can place this on the other part, and then to ease your stress, cut it like that also. So you place this other one right on top, match it. You match this point and then cut away what you cut on the first part. Okay, so now that we've done this, what we are going to have is, after folding here and then folding here, and then we've sewn our half of an inch. You can see that. So once we sew our half of an inch, we have this shape. You can see that shape. So that is what we are looking at. So let's go on to sew our half of an inch here. You just flip it to the right, to the wrong side, and make it right side facing, and you sew your half of an inch right here. You repeat that for the other one as well.